Khamzat's first.
Khamzat's first?
Khamzat's first. I want to be the greatest to ever do this. But Khamzat's next. Khamzat is next. I want to make sure that this belt, the middleweight title, that there's no question that I'm the GOAT.
As the highly anticipated UFC 319 draws closer, DDP has issued his own threats aimed at Khamzat, declaring that no matter what, he will be hailed as the champion after breaking down Khamzat Chimaev. Amid this callous display of threats between both the fighters, many renowned names in the industry have shared their peace of mind, including Brendan Schaub and Bear DeGidio, who recently expressed their views regarding this matchup. Labeling this nothing short of a dogfight, both analysts highlighted the astronomical feats that the fighters have achieved so far and how these abilities will come into play on fight night.
Makhachev made sense to jump up to 70. He can definitely capture 55, 70. 85 is a different animal because you have guys like DDP and Khamzat. I think whoever wins out of Khamzat and DDP, whoever wins that can go for 3 belts. Because, like I said, DDP is bigger than Khamzat. So light heavyweight, he's probably a light heavyweight naturally. So it makes sense for DDP to go light heavyweight. Heavyweight's not as far a stretch for him. DDP's a big boy. You know what I'd love? If you had Khamzat here, right, for whatever 4 weeks, and then you brought in DDP for 4 weeks. Wouldn't that be dope?
Not for me.
Really?
Praising DDP for his sheer tenacity and willpower, both Bear and Brendan consider him a serious threat to anyone in the division, including Khamzat, who, despite his extraordinary skills, seems to have some issues regarding his longevity. They also shared their views on the commercial value of this fight, especially considering how Dricus's charismatic demeanor and ruthless style attracted a lot of viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I like DDP as a fighter.
I know you have to say that, otherwise they're going to shoot you when we get out of here. But listen, from a person that likes content, because also
content-wise,
DDP is kind of a boogeyman too.
Yeah,
we don't know much about him. His style's different. He's dope, dude.
I think one thing I do like about DDP is the way he fights is very exciting. So as a fight fan, I'm like, all right, cool.
Dog.
You don't know what's gonna happen.
Seemingly sharing the same views, Mark Hume, being a teammate and avid supporter of DDP throughout his MMA journey, wholeheartedly supports his friend's upcoming endeavor against one of the most dangerous fighters in the division.
Let me tell you, that man is on a roll, bro. When he says you're going to be surprised, I believe you're going to be surprised.
Delving into his confidence in Dricus, Mark emphasized that since his last couple of fights, Dricus has been on a roll and has proved himself to be a force to be reckoned with, no matter who he is up against. Warning all the doubters, Mark further implored that with only a few days left, the South African beast is all geared up to silence his haters once and for all.
Yeah, to that I would say, be careful what you think, in the sense of, I mean, Dricus has not lost in the UFC once, right? He's not lost once. Every single time he's been the underdog. You know how much money people have made on Dricus Du Plessis. So, I mean, if people want to be stupid and put their money on a Chechnyan whore, then do it. I'm going to laugh at you afterwards.
Talking about all the doubters that Dricus has faced throughout his UFC journey, Caio Baralho might be his toughest critic yet, based on his various comments regarding how he will always bet against the fighter. However, regardless of this supposed hatred, Caio recently admitted that no matter how many times he deems that Dricus will fail, he always manages to prove him wrong by rising up to the occasion.
Bro, this is crazy because I always bet against DDP and he always shut in my mouth. But I'm feeling like this can be a fight as fast as the fight with Khamzat and Whittaker. Like finishing the first round or beginning of the second round, you know. 60% of me say that Khamzat will finish this fight like real fast.
Furthermore, while sharing his analysis for the fight, Caio admits that even though Khamzat is a powerhouse and a dangerous fighter, his gas tank seems to run out early, which might prove to be his downfall, as that gives Dricus ample opportunity to get the upper hand and dominate the entire fight.
But 40% says that Dricus, with his size and height and his weight, he's a big guy for the division. I think he can stop the takedowns or even survive the first 2 rounds, and then the fights gets better for him. So I'm 60-40 on these 2 options.
So the longer the fight goes, the more it favors DDP?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Because Khamzat is the guys that go for it in the belt. He's just go at it and sometimes if things don't go as the way he planned it, we've seen already he gets a little bit tired in the later rounds. So with a 5-round fight, and Dricus is a guy that even after he gets tired, he's still working. He's still making you go in deep waters and making you work.
Another person who seems to have changed his views regarding Dricus is none other than Sean Strickland, who, after his humiliating defeat at the hands of the South African Beast, reluctantly admits the pressure he presents inside the ring. Adding on to his analysis, Sean labeled wrestling as a major deciding factor in this fight, especially for Dricus, because if he manages to overpower Khamzat in that regard, then he has a clear path to victory.
You know what's hard? So those little Chechen, dude, they can grapple. And like someone like me, who I've been training with for years, I usually could counter wrestle and grapple him. So I just don't know if Dricus can be able to counter wrestle him. But if he can, I think he wins all hands down, you know. I sparred the Chechen, like hands down, I think Dricus wins. But it's just gonna come down to like, are you gonna be able to like counter wrestle? And like you can, it's not hard.
Meanwhile, no matter the general perception surrounding this fight, Dricus is focused on the task at hand, and it is not just confined to securing a win against Khamzat. In a recent media appearance, Dricus admitted that the major driving force behind his hard work is to become one of the greatest in the sport, and for that, he is prepared to take down anyone, no matter the threat that they might pose.
Khamzat's first. Khamzat's first. I want to be the greatest to ever do this, but Khamzat's next. Khamzat is next. I want to make sure that this belt, the middleweight title, that there's no question that I'm the GOAT.
To achieve this goal, Dricus is leaving no stone unturned. From engaging in explosive sparring sessions that last for countless minutes to partaking in grueling workouts just to build up his threshold level, DDP is leaving no stone unturned for this upcoming fight. Furthermore, in another interview, Dricus looked back on Khamzat's last couple of opponents and how they don't stand on the same level as him. However, not letting this get to his head and not underestimating his opponent, Dricus explained how Khamzat usually operates and manages to take down his opponents based on his superb grappling skills and intimidating fighting style.
Khamzat is an incredible fighter, but you know, you're fighting in the top 5 of the UFC, everybody's incredible fighters. You know, he has this one thing that works for him and it's been good, but you know, Khamzat is an absolute animal, absolutely. But I mean, you look at the Gilbert Burns fight, which you could have scored either way. You look at the Kamaru Usman fight, and you go, yeah, he did beat Robert Whittaker. Obviously, his teeth broke back. It's unfortunate. He is really good. So, you know, deserving of a title shot 100% after that performance. You know, if you look at the Strickland's last performance versus Paulo Costa, and then you look at Khamzat's last performance versus Robert Whittaker, that's a no-brainer that Khamzat gets the title fight. And I had my own selfish reasons. I was more excited to fight a Khamzat.
Moving on, sharing his take on the tremendous progress that Dricus has displayed so far in his career, Michael Venom Paige shared his take on the fighter and his chances of winning. Starting with the crucial aspect of size, Michael revealed that, unlike what can be seen online, up close, Dricus seems to be huge, almost emulating the physique of a heavyweight, which ultimately makes him a much more serious threat to Khamzat than people might expect him to be.
Definitely more of a welterweight, although everyone, even people today, they're like, man, you're bigger than I expected. I'm very tall for that division.
You're 6'3"?
Yeah.
Is that
so, right? But I'm very tall for the division.
Yeah.
But in terms of stature, you see a lot of people there, you just see the difference. When you're in the MMA, you see the people's ankles are bigger, like wrists are bigger. Like
that DDP looks like heavyweight.
It's ridiculous, yeah. Like his body shape is just different. So he's naturally more a middleweight, whereas I'm naturally more a welterweight.
And so you've got people like DDP and Khamzat. Who do you reckon is going to win in that?
Man,
I don't know.
I would love to.
You trained with Khamzat as well?
Yeah.
Adding on, Michael also weighed in on Dricus' capabilities and how much they contrast with Khamzat's skills. According to Paige, although Chimaev is a formidable opponent with an unmatched skill set, the sheer unpredictability of Dricus' styles not only makes him a very hard opponent to study, but it also grants him an excellent opportunity to psychologically break down his adversary as the fight progresses, leading to his countless surprising victories.
And obviously there's something about him because he keeps winning. And sometimes even that is an art, knowing how to win.
Do you reckon it's psychological that he's got tremendous will?
He has to be well trained, obviously, and he does do things, but he just seems messy to me. But at the same time, you have to give him his flowers. You have to give him his respect because he's still winning. And this is what, that every time I put my money against him, shall I say, he always comes up on top. So it's just, I would normally say Khamzat would win this fight.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to say, man. He's just a person that this is this very, very exceptional fight. Yeah, and I'm gonna be there live in flesh because I'm fighting that night as well. Inshallah.
Another person who chimes in support of Dricus was James Lynch, who highlighted Dricus's unparalleled credentials among his contenders in the middleweight division. Painting a clear picture of Dricus's formidable image as a fighter, James also talked about his determination and fight IQ that allows him to overcome any situation that he might eventually face inside the ring.
But let's start first with the current champion, Dricus Du Plessis, as he looks to defend his title here on August 19th. So I mentioned it there, 31 years old, 23-2 record. He's got 9 knockouts, 10 submissions, and 3 decisions. He is going to have a 1-inch reach advantage in this fight. This is a 5-round fight, obviously, with it being for the middleweight title. He's a second-degree black belt in kickboxing, former EFC middleweight and welterweight champion. He's the current middleweight champion in the UFC with 2 successful title defenses. He's the first South African to win the UFC championship. He's got Performance of the Night 2 times and Fight of the Night 2 times as well.
Now, although the analyst refrained from giving any solid prediction, he did, however, allude to a fast finish and warned Khamzat about underestimating his opponent, because if the fight manages to drag on without any substantial damage to Dricus, then there is a huge chance that he might be able to win the fight by breaking down Chimaev's last remaining defenses.
Chimaev kind of showed that he can take a ranked middleweight and frankly make the fight look easy. I don't think he's going to make this fight look easy, but I do think ultimately that superior grappling and ground game will be a difference here as well. So I just, to me, Chimaev looked unstoppable in that last fight. That's hard to ignore in this matchup. So my official pick for this one is going to be Khamzat Chimaev by round 2 submission. But like I said, this is a good spot to live bet, I think, this fight as well, because if this fight goes past, if Chimaev can't get this done within 2 rounds, I think live betting DDP is the way to go, because I do think he has a much stronger chance of winning this fight later on.
Also talking about the unpredictable and ruthless nature of DDP, the Barnhill brothers shared their take on the main event of UFC 319. While addressing how the fight will eventually turn out, Barnhill brothers are on the same page as James, believing that the longer this fight manages to go on, Khamzat's chances at victory will continue to dwindle, as Dricus is not an ordinary fighter who can be tamed down. His unorthodox nature is what makes him even more nightmarish.
DDP is a really awkward striker, but he's very powerful, and awkward is the term that people like to use because it looks optically like something that we're not used to seeing, and it is. But awkward could easily be replaced for effective. Because what DDP does is dang effective. He knocks people out, he hurts people, he wins fights with his hands, even against a volume striker like a Sean Strickland. He's able to edge out and get a decision victory, talking back to that first fight. So one thing that Khamzat needs to do is not find himself watching what DDP's doing on the feet, because he's going to come at you and burst. It's going to be very unpredictable. The angles are going to be weird. The timing is going to be weird.
Furthermore, it's not just about the technical way that Dricus approaches this fight that makes him a serious threat. It is the sheer speed and tenacity at which he does so, because after analyzing his past performances against a variety of opponents, it is evident that as soon as Dricus manages to get an upper hand, he explodes and pounces on his opponent with everything he has got. So, according to Barnhill brothers, no matter what, Khamzat cannot afford to wait around in this fight. He has to be on guard from the very start to the finish.
How do you disrupt somebody who's got awkward timing? You use timing of your own. You come out, you put a jab in his face, you put a 1-2 in his face, throw a leg kick, throw a body kick. That way you can kind of disrupt the entries of the awkward fighter, which makes it harder for them to start to mount their offense against you. So I think it's very important for Khamzat to go first in the striking. Don't get caught looking and watching what DDP's doing, because that's how you're going to get cracked, and you might get cracked with a big shot. I mean, this is going to be the heaviest hitter that Khamzat has ever faced.
For sure.
He can't take too many massive shots from DDP, nor could anybody.
No, and he also got dropped by Gilbert Burns. And when Gilbert Burns hits like a truck, no doubt about it, but DDP hits even harder than that. So I'm very interested to see how Khamzat does deal with that. And the strikes that DDP likes to throw, they throw everybody for a loop. They're confusing for everybody. So it's very important that Khamzat Chimaev, like you said, doesn't let DDP get into his rhythm, because even though he's like this drunken master, kind of stumble and fall and land on top and stumble and fall, but land a hook on the way down. He's the kind of guy that, yes, it might not look like the prettiest thing, but it, like you said, it's the most effective strike he can throw at that moment. And it's always the strikes that you don't see coming that do the most damage.
echoing the same views as the Barnhill brothers and the majority of the MMA world. Robert Whittaker also chimed in with his own shocking prediction, stating that both fighters have an equal chance of winning. However, everything depends on who manages to outlast the other one. Additionally, being someone who has shared the ring with both Khamzat and DDP, Robert echoed the same narrative that if the fight stretches past 3 rounds, Khamzat's chances of winning will be slim to none.
Khamzat will take him down. Yeah, I think if he doesn't finish Dricus, he's going to lose. No, it'll be very hard to win. Not that he'll lose, but it'll be very hard to win.
Dricus told me that he's going to take Khamzat down. Your thoughts?
Maybe. He might. He's good at that sort of stuff. You know, I don't think it'll work as well, super well, but I also don't think he cares. Like he's got a really funny style. And it works so well for him.
I think the favourite would have to be Dricus, just because, I think the favourite would have to be Dricus. The only things I can really say with any sort of certainty is that Chimaev will get Dricus to the mat, but if Chimaev doesn't finish Dricus there, I find it hard for him to win. I think the longer the fight goes, Dricus is more favourable. Chimaev has outstanding first round finishes, but every fight that's gone the distance has been close.
On the other hand, expressing a contrasting vision for this fight, famed trainer and coach Tim Welsh emphasized the fact that even though Dricus is being hailed as this unbeatable fighter with unprecedented abilities, a fight against Khamzat is not an easy task for anyone. Delving into Chimaev's usual predatory style, Tim advised Dricus to maintain a steady pace throughout the bout, and for that, he has to partake in continuous sparring against countless varying partners who have the ability to not only constantly shoot takedowns, but also to exert pressure that mimics Khamzat's stance.
And Dricus, I mean, he's not the most technical everywhere, but god damn it, he's an explosive athlete who is a dog. Yeah, Chimaev would just be a tough one to train for. You'd have to get guys, at least 4 guys, 5 guys, just switching in on you, just shooting on you on the wall, shooting on you on the wall, shooting on you, and it would be a hard fight camp training for Khamzat.
Yeah. Grueling. That'd be horrible.
Yeah, I'm excited for that fight. It's such a huge fight.
Looking forward to fight night, Tim appeared curious about how the clash would unfold, given the explosive style of both fighters, especially Khamzat, who is typically renowned for his first-round antics where he wastes no time in launching vicious attacks aimed at whoever is in front of him. Regardless of the outcome of this event, Tim appeared excited to witness the clash of 2 vicious fighters who are ready to advance in the division by any means necessary.
Yeah, if you can weather the storm, the 2.5, 3 minute storm of Khamzat, you're going to be in good shape. But that is not an easy task.
Hell no.
He's gonna be on your back. He's gonna come out and put the pedal to the metal from round 1. And is that gonna hold up? Is just randomly he's gonna be able to stay composed like that? Because in his 15-minute fight with Gilbert Burns, in his 15-minute fight with Kamaru Usman, it was pedal to the metal whole time. And if 2 more rounds was going to happen with Kamaru Usman, that fight might have been quite a bit different.
So, in the end, what do you guys think about this fight and the remarkable transformation of DDP? Do you think that this time the South African will triumph and accomplish his dreams? Or do you believe all these hopes will be crushed by a vicious and locked-in version of Khamzat? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to our channel.